Hey, what's up YouTube? Smaldor here, and I am finally back with another thoughts video for myself on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is going to be one of the... I believe this is actually my first thoughts video on a game that I have not completed. And I'm doing it because I do have over 60 hours in the game, and at least on my stream, I am done playing it. I'll probably still end up playing it off stream. I do want to complete it. I do want to know the end of the story, but it'll probably take quite some time, and there are other games that I'd much rather play. So this might be a longer video because I have to, I'm going to be talking about why, why I feel the way I do about certain systems, and also why I've decided to stop playing the game. But like my previous video, I want to start following through with categories and categorizing each thing that I talk about and then kind of like rating them from my perspective anyway. So when it comes to big RPG games, for me, the most important thing in an RPG is the primary story narrative of the game, the overarching whole story and how it all comes together and everything like that. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it starts off, in my opinion, very, very strong. I am a little biased to the setting. I like Viking type stuff. I like Norse mythos and all that kind of thing. Even though it's kind of been shoved down our throats in media with other film, TV shows, other games in more recent years, it's definitely not as prevalent as, say, Odyssey with the Roman and Greek stuff, which has been done for forever, right? So it's still kind of fresh in that mind. In my mind, in that way. But as I kept playing on in the game, it felt what I was doing 2 hours into the game is the exact same thing that I'm doing at 60 hours in the game. The story was like, I don't know. Because, spoiler alert, you start the game in Norway, you do a little stuff in Norway, you find out, okay, we have to leave, we have to go to England. There's ripe land to be taken. So you create a settlement, and you can build a settlement, we'll talk about that. And you have to try to make alliances with the regions in England. And each region, you go there, you go to the region, you gain the favor of the leader of the region, whether that's by there is a leader and you're trying to win them over and create an alliance. You need to remove the leader, put a new leader in, and create an alliance with the leader you put in. Or, you just put somebody else, or whatever. I have now done that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And it's all the same thing, generally. I mean, obviously it's not exactly the same, but it's more or less the same premise the whole way through. This is 60 hours in the game, guys. And I'm about halfway through the game. Maybe a little bit more than that, because I have heard that the deeper you get into the game, it gets faster. Maybe just because you become more powerful, so it's fast and quicker to be able to do the combat stuff. But it's just the same thing over and over. I don't know. Like, for me, like, and it wasn't like there was this gripping storytelling. Like, there was this super long, drawn out stuff. In the 60 hours, very little was really happening. Like, very, very little, in my opinion. So, I don't know. For me, I have a rating for all these things, but I didn't create it properly, so I'll pop it up at the end. I believe I put the primary never at around a 7. But, so next, I want to talk about character development. So, the primary character you play is Eivor. Story canon-wise, I actually don't know if it's male or female. If you choose default, it changes. The game will change if you're male or female, depending on what's happening. I believe there is a story reason for that. In the 60 hours that I played, only one time did I go to the real world, and try to get some more information in the modern day and what's going on. There's some big key characters: Eivor, Sigurd, and a lot of the other people in your settlement. So you meet the assassins. They call them, the hidden ones. We have Hytham and Basim, things like this. But you meet these guys all early on, and pretty much everything is just exactly the same as it was in the very beginning of the game until very recently in the story. did it start to change a little bit, where the characters started changing a little bit and maturing and evolving. But otherwise, for like 95% of what I've played, exactly the same. You meet new characters in each region that you forge your alliances with, and then that's done. That area's done, right? Go to new region, new characters, forge an alliance, done. New region, new area, new characters, forge an alliance, done. So, and then there's the characters from your own thing. I mean, there's a couple characters that might stay or have like, ooh, cameo, we're back, kind of thing, but it's nothing crazy. I don't know. It was... Character development for me is very, very lacking. The best part, in my opinion, is Eivor, because there's some connections possibly with Odin, which is, I'm sure, is an Isu, right? And all that kind of stuff. So it's part of the things that would keep me coming back, and why I still give this character development. I think I give it a 7 as well, which, to be fair, 7 is still pretty good, right? If you're doing it out of a 10, 7 is a passing grade. But let's talk about combat. This is the best part of the game, in my opinion. I know of some friends of mine who have actually hated the combat because they came from Odyssey, and Odyssey was very fast, very just smooth, just go, boom, it's just extremely smooth and fast. Valhalla is not. It can get fast, or a little bit faster, but it's much more visceral, it's slower, it's heavier, it's weightier, and to me, that fits in with the Viking thing. I really, really liked it. All your moves in the combat felt like they had weight. It just flowed very well. It felt very smooth. I had no issues in any point in time in combat, really, in any, whether that's melee, ranged, you name it, you got it. I mean, it's good. I really, really enjoyed it. Quite honestly, probably the best. So I think I give it a 9 out of 10. And the only reason why I didn't give it higher would be because the assassinations, I think, actually took a downfall. Sometimes it's very quick, but there's a lot of the times the assassinations, you come behind the guy, you pull his shoulder, you get in front of him, and then you take him down, and then you do this huge motion, and it's not fast. You're like, boom, and then you kill him. I'm like, this dude could have screamed a yell for help like 10 million times before you actually killed him. I'm like, that felt a little weird. But then there's other times where you just like walk in front of the guy, just dead. I'm like, that's what it should be, that's what it should be, right? Assassination. But so that had a little bit of jank, and it could have been a little bit better. But for the most part, I really loved the combat. And so, next thing we talk about is other systems. Basically everything else that's not combat related. So we're talking about the skill tree, the ability tree, the order kills. So Odyssey had the cultist kill tree, and this game has the order kill tree. The Templars, basically. They don't call them that, but it's the Templars. I think it works really well. I think it's actually one of the better ones in the Assassin's Creed. I think I might have still given it a 7, maybe an 8. I might have given it an 8. We'll see. I'll pop it up when I'm done here. But that's why I'm off to the side and I have this space here. Pretty sure I gave it an 8. Specifically because of inventory. Inventory bugged the hell out of me, actually. So in Odyssey, you could swap between weapons. Like quick swapping. Like you can have, okay, I got a spear. Oh, depending on what I'm fighting, I can quick swap. Okay, dual wield swords. This game, there's none of that. You have to literally go to the menu, change your items, swap, and all that. Like, sorry, I just punched the mic. But like, I don't know. But the skill tree made more sense to me. So in Odyssey, you had, and I'm going to do a lot of comparisons because I finished up Odyssey right before I played this. Odyssey, it was a very generic skill tree. You had like, I think you had ranged, melee, assassination, and then you worked your way up to get the ultimate abilities. That was it. In this one, there is a grid system akin to Final Fantasy X, Path of Exile, I think to me is what I'm more thinking of because I haven't played 10 in a long time. But where you don't even have a level. You have a power. You have a base power, and your power just goes up, and that's what your level is based off of. And you can get a node, do more damage, take less damage, better evasion, better stats here, and then in each like area of like there's like sections. There's one uber ability kind of thing. Okay, now you can do chain assassination. So you can assassinate, and then you can assassinate an under guy. Boom. Or there's, you know, things like a really cool ability that's in there is the ability to straight up one-shot elite mobs, basically. Whereas in the previous games, you couldn't do that. But then there's the abilities is a whole nother thing. You have to find the abilities in the world, is how you learn them. It isn't by leveling up and acquiring them in a tree. You have to straight up find the abilities. I like that a lot. And if you wanted to upgrade them, you had to find the upgrade. I think that's really cool too. I really, really like that. As far as the order kill thing, I mean, so is the same thing for me. It didn't feel as urgent as it did in Odyssey, actually. Odyssey felt a lot more urgent because it was very, very connected to the core story of Cassandra. For Eivor, the order stuff doesn't really feel that connected because it's more like there's a guy from the Assassins. It's like, hey, if you see these guys, can you kill them? And you're just like, okay, sure. That's basically it. You know what I mean? It's like, so it doesn't really feel connected, but otherwise it's kind of the same thing. You kill the lower level guys to get information on the higher tier guys and try to get more information on the even higher tier guys. Things like that. I mean, it works. It's a totally fine system, but again, for me, it was the fact that it didn't feel connected to Eivor as much. It didn't feel like there was much urgency or reason to even really be doing it other than one of your homies is like, I'd like it if you did this. That was pretty much it. Whereas, like I said, in Odyssey, Cassandra there was a serious reason why you were fighting, you were taking out the cultists. And it was very tied to her story. So it was a little, That's what I think. I think I gave it an 8. Next on my category list is music. Okay, I think I give this an 8 as well, maybe even a 7. And the reason why is this. The music that's in the game is amazing. But there's too many times where there's just nothing. Or it's very, very ambient to where you don't even really notice there's even anything playing. But when you're doing raids, or you're fighting, like it's like a big story event, like, or I guess they call them assaults. So there's points in the story where you're sieging castles. And so you're getting a battering ram and everything, and you're ramming, or you're bringing up like explosive carts, and you're blowing up walls and stuff. And there's like this epic battle music that's going on, and it's really, really cool. But then there's other times in the game where you're still doing these crazy fights, and there's just nothing. It's like, I don't know. Like, there needs to be a little bit more of a balance. At least give me some like ambient type stuff that's a lot more prevalent. And there really wasn't any. But what's in the game is good. So, not much else to say about that. Technical stuff. So my last category is technical. Stuff that's nothing to do with the game itself, but more how it runs. I played the game on PC. I should have that in the title. But, so, when the game first launched, this game was running like crap. Fortunately, NVIDIA released a driver on launch day, but it wasn't right at launch, and it cleared up a lot of stuff. So after that, I pretty much had no issues. I ran the game on 1440p, max settings across the board, over 60 FPS, pretty much the whole time, and in many cases closer to 100 FPS. And for those wondering, I was using a 2080 Ti graphics card, if that matters. But yeah, I've had like really no issues or anything like that ever since the first patch. That was the NVIDIA driver patch. The game ran pretty smoothly. So here's my scoring. How close was I in guessing? 7, 7, 9, 8, 8, 8. Okay, pretty good. So that's pretty good, I think. Like, but here's the problem. The most important categories are these two for me in an RPG. They are primary narrative and character development. And so when I say character development, I'm referring to like the whole, how deep are the character stories, the backstories, how much, is the character narrative and everything like that. And they were the two weakest things, and they're the two most important things for me in an RPG. I'm looking at the thing as well to kind of do like a summary. But the combat was fantastic, it is very important in action RPGs, which is why it is the third ranking thing for me. And some people might be like, well, why is the technical stuff at the bottom of importance? I'm a very forgiving person when it comes to technical issues in games, because it's not the game itself. Now, if it does get to a point where like I literally can't play it, it will be a big factor, but I'll play a game with a lot of bugs. I'll play games with issues and things like that as long as everything that's in the game itself is actually good. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Valhalla. I just wish it would keep introducing new things, and it would be much more innovative constantly throughout the game to keep me engaged. And it just wasn't able to do that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Valhalla. And I will see you guys for the next video. Catch you guys next time. Make sure to, if you like the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any kind of, criticisms or ideas on how I can possibly do this. I'm trying to change how I do this to find a way that I like it. But it is what it is. See you guys next time. Peace.